The outcome of the local government elections held last Saturday in Rivers State showcases the triviality of the political party's architecture. That a governor can actually or literally commandeer people into party platforms and deploy it to a major electoral victory in so short a time says much about the abnormality of our party politics and the absence of genuine democratic culture in Nigeria. It also shows the charade that local government elections have actually become in Nigeria. Likewise, on Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and also, as we always do, embrace dialogue, we align ourselves with the position of former President Goodluck Jonathan that the lingering political crisis in Rivers State is a cause for serious concern for everyone, particularly lovers of democracy and all actors within the peace and security sector of our nation, with Honourable Kingsley Ugwuorah. You're welcome back to the next phase of the show. The show is still Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. I have with me Honourable Kingsley Ugwuorah from the Garden City, Rivers State. Honourable Kingsley, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yes, I believe the climate in Rivers State has been an inferno from last year up until now. Heated rancor, particularly between the Wike faction and the Fubara faction. But secondly, I would like to also introduce my co-host with me, Olaito Babatunde.
Good to have you on the show, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Before we proceed, what's the climate been like in Rivers State, particularly for people like you who are actually in the audience observing the power tussle between Fubara and also Nyesom Wike?
Okay, thank you so much for that. I would like to start with this. Politics is a game of interest, and you play along the line of your interest, those who are participating in it. So I would say the usual thing that happens in every state. It happens everywhere of the world. Power tussle, yes. However, I would say it is usual, it is normally expected, it has been there. It has been there from the creation of Rivers till date. It is always there.
Okay. That's quite brief. At least it's self-explanatory for anyone who cares to understand. Now, zeroing in now to Rivers State. Rivers State has actually been overwhelmed in the crisis, like you just explained, in the power tussle for quite some time now. Now, after some lawmakers loyal to the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, commenced impeachment proceedings against the incumbent governor, Fubara, the power tussle between the governor and his predecessor, Nyesom Wike, has divided 31 assembly members into two warring factions. Now, these developments, might we recall, led to actually the bombing of a section of the State House of Assembly last year, the Rivers State House of Assembly complex last year. Now, in recent happenings, the legal executive has allowed itself also to be hauled into the crisis by doling out conflicting orders from the incumbent governor and also Nyesom Wike. The approach, likewise, on the part of the police has actually been partisan and shameful. The APC activities within the states securing a judgment from the Federal High Court in Abuja, limiting INEC from releasing voters' registers to the Rivers State Independent Electoral Body, which is the resident umpire for the elections. The judgment likewise limited the Inspector General of Police of probably Kayode Egbetukun, as I say, by providing security for the elections, which is paramount. If we will accept, Fubara on his own part has actually invested large portion of his time in office buried in political survival at the expense of government administration and the development of the state. Likewise, Wike, who has also invested more energy in politics of Rivers State, which he has actually left or for his primary assignment in Abuja, filling in as FCT minister. Now, with an embattled governor and the absence of a functioning legislature, and every other culminating occurrences piling up into the Garden City, you will agree that personal interest of individual politicians ought to have limits and the quest for self-interest ought to be edified? Or could there be a looming breakdown of law and order in the near future with all I have just said?
Yes, thank you so much for that. I would say very emphatically that when it comes to orders, counter orders, judgment and counter judgments concerns politics, especially as it is playing out here in Rivers State, I
Okay.
would say that if the Rivers State case study a litmus test, then it is also going to embody the entire Nigeria being enwrapped in this line of thoughts. How? When law is created for men, when law is supposed to govern certain actions, men, and law is completely neglected, or rather, being so frivolous in attending to the need of the time, it is an indirect way of deprivation, and the deprivation culminates into a certain rumbling element that may erupt anytime. Nobody knows the eruption size, nobody knows the damage to cause in the near future, but it is like a rumbling volcano on the way. So I would say straight away that it is not been palatable, that we have orders, we have judgments coming from courts of certain content jurisdictions and the ones that doesn't have the jurisdiction at all to handle such cases of this like. And then by the time you see these orders climbing order, everybody's playing along the line of their interest. The courts also play along the line of defending certain interests and not really looking at what the law provides. It is building a time bomb, or rather laying a landmine, and then you wouldn't know the people that will run into the forest. So I am saying it is not a good one. Whoever is coercing the judiciary to take their stand in this conflicting order is not doing the country good. It's not doing Rivers people good. We should stand by what the law says. Otherwise, we should provide ourselves with a comfortable law that will guide us and govern us.
Okay.
Because no society thrives without being governed by strong laws. Institutions need to be strengthened.
Okay.
They have to be completely independent. And then their judgment stand the test of time, should reflect the reality of what is happening.
Okay.
It shouldn't be a shopping mall. That is my stand on that. Thank you.
Okay, that's quite explanatory. I have with me Olaito, like I mentioned earlier, and I think she has something for you to tend to. Let me put it that way.
All right, thank you very much. Honourable Kingsley, in what ways do local government elections in the Garden City, Rivers State, appear to be a sham? And what challenges do you think the new local government officials will face in the aftermath of the recent elections that just recently happened?
Okay, thank you for that question. I would say that you have concluded with, should I say, the language sham, which I'm hearing from you, rather. Otherwise, I would say that local government elections are monitored, or rather handled by the State Independent Electoral Commission. And they are the people that possess the sole authority to marshal out the process of the conduct. And in turn, they announce its results of the election. These are the processes. And then, before the process of the election, there could be other processes they will also monitor, conduct, to bring in parties to the level of contesting an election. They also possess the authority to marshal out how every political party gets involved. And there are laid down principles, rules, regulations, guidelines, whatever any name anybody could come up with. I would say that the RISEC had given out a timetable of events, and I believe they had followed the timetable to a certain extent, and there were some overshoots here and there, not properly addressed though. But coming to the election, the state government also play a role, and the role they play, they interface with the RISEC to ensure a smooth conduct by way of funding, as the case may be, because by law they are still under the funding of the state. Okay, fast forwarding, I will also say that over the time, the state government had always controlled the process through the State Independent Electoral Commission. And it is going to be alien if a state government is conducting such election or supervising or powering such election, and then you see something different. However, I would say that they had conducted the election the way they had decided. I mean, the Resident Electoral Commission of the state, the state government have also played their role, powering them to conduct the election, providing them all that is required for the election. But for the political parties that are rumbling and where the statement of sham had come in, unquote. From that perspective, I understand that there had never been any free and fair election in the country. To talk more of a local election, local government election, we weren't expecting, I, for one, would have expected a free and fair election if the institutions are so strong and then being so independent, actually independent to doing their things the way it should be done according to the law. But across the country, it is not yet practicable. You can agree with me. Let us not paint words.
Yes, sir.
Furthermore, they had done it the normal, the usual way state governments have always conducted their election, and they had come up with the result desired. So, but for the rumbling of the people, it is well in line with the normal process of conducting an election. Yes, we may not all be happy. We may not all be happy, and the people are registering their concerns for not seeing this, for not seeing that, for not seeing this, for this condition not being met. And I will also fault, to some extent, I don't know if this is serving as a concluding part of my statement, but I will also say that the state government will need to truly engage the people, because Rivers State is a state that needs, at this point in time, at this tough economy, they need to be coordinated. They don't need to be in war. And at this point, I believe that the government of Rivers State, the governor himself, I'm seizing the opportunity to say he should engage the people. He should calm the fraying nerves of the people.
Okay.
He should do the needful and engage them the more if the state will move forward.
Okay.
Because everybody have passion for the government to move forward.
Okay. That is quite indulgent from a Rivers State voice in your person. Let me put it that way. Now, moving on, it boils down to what I'm about to ask you now, with also the numerous difficulties which are actually confronting Rivers State. They are actually deteriorating on the grounds that those who ought to provide the leadership are fighting over control of the public resources and the political structure. Now, the public resources and the political structure are actually serving the interests of the Rivers State people. Now, as an oil-producing state, Rivers remains one of the most strategic states within the country and a cosmopolitan headquarters of the nation's oil and gas industry, if you will agree. Now, will it be in order to perceive the fact that there are strategic reasons why the former and current leadership of Rivers State, you will understand what I mean by the former and the current leadership of Rivers State are actually fighting for control of public resources and political structure. Like I mentioned earlier, and you should know who I'm talking about, by the former leadership by Nyesom Wike, exactly, and the current leadership in incumbent governor Siminalayi Fubara, who is of the PDP. Now, as we speak now, Nyesom Wike is serving under the FCT administration, under an APC administration. How does the conflicts in Rivers State affect the national security, considering its role in the oil and gas industry? Because whether we like it or not, Rivers State is a strategic state.
Yes, thank you so much for that. I would say I will agree with you that Rivers State is strategic to Nigeria as a nation. I will also say that the conflict, to some extent, will have little or no impact if the Rivers people understand themselves very well. I also know that power is transient. Power is transient. It does not reside in one place. It revolves, it rotates. And at any point in time, it gets to you. Do the best you can, because it is rolling out. It is moving. As it is moving from you, it is moving to the next person or the next distinct person. And when it gets to him, I believe that the connection between the former and the incumbent is supposed to be limited, like minimal. All right, I will seize this as an instance. If I am a kingmaker and I mix you, you know that I may have the opportunity to make another, and I have made you. Okay? I would not wish you come back bringing your head for me to remove the crown. You are the owner of the crown. Do whatever the crown says you should do. As the kingmaker, I will watch you do well with your crown, and I wouldn't be the one to come removing it from your head, except you call for that. And at the point,
okay, so yes, indirectly you're trying to say the kingmaker should be more of an advisor than an imposer. Okay,
an advisor to watch. I've given you the ball, go and do well with the ball. Okay. And then I'm directing you to the post where you score the goal. If you're not doing well, when you come out of the pitch or when you come close, I can advise you.
Okay,
that's what should move Rivers State forward. Okay, and not quest for whatever I cannot really phantom.
Okay, I think Olaiton here has something for you.
Yeah, earlier you talked about the power tussle in Rivers State. Now, how has the power struggle between Governor Fubara and former Governor Wike affected the governance of Rivers State? And what measures could be taken to encourage political leaders in Rivers State to prioritize the public good over personal interest? You know how they say, there's this popular saying that says that when two elephants are fighting, when they're in a struggle, it is the weed that gets affected, that is mostly affected by the tussle between them. So what do you think about this, sir?
The problem will affect the people in a way, and the people will also benefit from the problem in a way. It is a two-headed kind of answer. Okay. I would say it will affect the people from one end, because when there is this power tussle, there will be a lot of disconnection from the process things flow. To appropriate certain things will be having some difficulty. Then directing certain developmental projects will also be difficult. Sentiment will come in. And then blueprints may not be followed actually, because the development blueprints would have been done, laid before now, and certain improvements being made by the incumbent, and then it's supposed to be followed. Certain blueprints will not be followed accordingly. There will be a redesign of the blueprints, because there is a disconnection from one end to the other. And then there are people who are loyal to the former, there are people who are loyal to the incumbents. But if you check very properly, it looks like the Rivers State people are standing more together on this, in a way. And then you see that if things, this kind of war did not also come up, some people who have the opportunity today to be serving in government may not actually be players. So you see that a kind of a cycle would have been taking place, and it has given room to new phase of politicians. Those who never thought they will get to where they are coming up. Some people are going on relegation. Some people are being signed according to the language of the footballers. Okay, so it is giving rise to new generals popping up, and then anybody that had played before who is still relevant can still play again, depending on the level of the person's relevance. Some are also benefiting from the national because it has also given some people the opportunity to climb to the top, and then they are all there at the national benefiting from whatever appointment that comes and benefits that is surrounding their leader.
Okay.
You see, so that is the good side of it and the bad side of it.
Okay.
Okay, but then I would like to know how they can really prioritize the good of the people in this, in all of this conflict. I really want to know how they can both come together, maybe to actually prioritize the good of the people and put aside their tussle and the conflict between them.
It is very, very simple to do. Very, very simple. If I'm in the middle of a war and I decide to sheath my sword, nobody forces the sword out of my shield. I pull it when I wish to. But okay, we have seen that if you are living in a glass house, you don't throw stones. Okay, and in my place, that this popular saying that nobody, you don't go to the marketplace to cast stone because you don't know whose head it will land. Okay, and that calls for carefulness. It calls for carefulness in whatever we are doing. At the point, the only way to benefit reverse people is that every interested person, everybody that is a player in this game, should shift their sword. They should sheath their sword, keep their arms down, and come for a unity. If it is possible, I know it's very, very difficult to call for a unity government, but then putting ideas together, stakeholders from all parts of the state can come together. If you don't want to play, you stay calm. If you want to play, you bring up your ideas on how things can go, can flow for Rivers people. We have a lot of things to do, just that a lot of people have not really been engaged. Okay, and there are some viable, very vital and very progressive ideas that can come from some young people, from some young men who are out there. They've not really been opportunities to play. Yes, but then an inclusive government will allow all this. An inclusive government, opening the arm for both the people who are out there, who are revolting, and then to the people who are also standing with you. Because there's a level of sentiments that will be brought up in the Rivers governance today. You will see another force of opposition.
Okay.
You see why it has to be inclusive, and then the Rivers people can benefit at large.
Okay, Honorable Kingsley, I think I tend to buy what you have said. You're vouching for an inclusive government, but apparently what is showcased over the news making the rounds is actually an exclusive government for people battling for dominance. Now, on a conclusive note, former President Goodluck Jonathan actually pointed out in his tenure that the lingering political crisis in Rivers State is a cause for serious concern, like I mentioned earlier on, for everyone, particularly lovers of democracy and all actors within the peace and security sector within the nation. Now, might I ask, because you actually vouch for also harmony and also an inclusive government, might I ask, what is the role, or what role do you think the former President Goodluck Jonathan's views play in shaping the public perception of the political crisis within Rivers State? In a few minutes.
Okay, he is a father, an elder statesman.
Okay.
I would say so. He can see some of the things those who are in government would not be seeing. And that's the reason why his advice is key. However, the peculiarity of the Rivers environment holds more to what we are saying and what we are thinking. The power in River State and the structures that build the power in River State are things that you do a thorough consultation to embrace. a thorough consultation to embrace. Otherwise, sentiment have been the order of the day, playing and controlling the economy, and then the good people of River State. A lot of the players have been blindfolded in a way because of starvation from inclusion. They have not been included. There's no consultation to them, and you see them rumbling in a way. If they see the button to strike that will cause explosion in certain places, they will strike the button. It calls for inclusive government. It calls for inclusivity. I will always say that it is better to be peaceful than to be in so much abundance and in war. If you have little and you are peaceful, it is more enjoyable than being in abundance and in war.
Okay,
We have abundance right here, and we are in war because of abundance.
I think on a conclusive note, I think we here in the studio and you likewise, and even our viewers out there, have picked something which you have after said by picking peace with little.
Yes.
Okay. Honourable Kingsley, it's been a nice one engaging you. I want to believe that in due time, well, subsequent shows, you will be making our time just as you've done to join us in subsequent shows.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for joining.
Any other time. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Yes, sir. Do take care.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that was Honourable Kingsley Ugwuorah from the Garden City, River State. River State remains one of the most strategic states, like I said earlier on in the conversation with Honourable Kingsley, and a cosmopolitan home base of the nation's oil and gas industry. But unfortunately, with an embattled governor and absent legislature, likewise a total breakdown of law and order, which is evidently not too far away. We hope it doesn't come to that. It should actually call for some level of concern where actors in the interest of peace and security should actually come into play and pursue peace with everyone and sheathe their swords, like Honourable Kingsley said. I have with me Olaiton Babatunde. I want to believe that you had to understand quite what the inferno situation has been like in the River State.
Yes, I really do understand. And one thing I can also pick from what he said is that we know that in Nigeria there's something we all refer to as godfatherism. Okay. So instead of imposing, why don't we advise? And then because of the people, whoever is in government, every of the people in politics, in political power will say that they're going into power to serve the people. So if we're going to serve the people, if it is for the public interest, then there is need to sheath our sword and focus on the people, on the welfare of the people. And I think in an episode that we did, I think yesterday, I was telling you same thing, that if it's for the welfareism of the people, we could bring in the women. But in this case, we're talking about the welfare of the people. We're looking out for the people, because in this war, the people that gets mostly affected, like I said earlier, are the people. In the thing I painted about two elephants having a fight, a tussle, that it is the weed that get affected. Now, in this tussle, it is the people that are getting affected. So therefore, I just want to say to Senator Wike and the former governor and also the present governor to sheath their war, make peace, let everybody live in peace, and let's push River State forward.
We've heard it from our guests and we've heard it from Olaiton. Paramountly, most importantly, what everyone is actually driving at is pursuing peace. And I think from our own end, I think peace should actually be pursued. The show has been Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. I'm Odiawa AI, and with me on the show has actually been Olaiton Babatunde. You do want to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us across various social media platforms. Thanks for watching.
Bye.